Right, enough silliness already for one day, isn't it? We can't have any silliness here. Silliness is not what we're about. We're all about the science here. I'm the science me, safe and effective. This is the Queen, Queen of Pimbatia and all her ducks, mother of puppies the unpoked, all of that. She is the question master. Well, she is once she gets handed the questions by Ted, who is busy twiddling the knobs. Aren't you, Ted? Good boy. You go down there and twiddle the knobs. Good lad. You know the drill. Put a large capital Q, then a colon. Write your question in full. Start with a capital letter, or uppercase if you like, and finish with a question mark. That way, Ted, because he's a bit limited, is best able to find said questions for the answering thereof by myself, and of course with input from Her Royal Highness, Her Majesty Ship, Pim, Queen of the Ducks, and such.
Majesty Ship.
Yes, good.
Okay, get in.
Yes. Okay. So we back away very, very slowly.
Jonathan is here.
Good. Hello, Jonathan. Good
Thanks
to see you.
for the super chat.
Thank you for the squids.
Says that when timings are better, I would love to hop on a Q&A.
Right, yeah, well, we'll think about timings at some point, maybe. Can't please all the people all the time. In fact, we can't please any of the people any of the time.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yes.
It's Pimbatia. What can you expect?
Well, all sorts of crazy stuff happens in Pimbatia.
What's become of Mark Linford? He used to be all over the...
Well, Lieutenant or Lieutenant General Mark Linford of the Meat Militia is AWOL. I don't know. When he shows up, he'll be on latrines and dusters and all sorts of other administrative correction for being AWOL. Unless there's a bloody good excuse, like he's been KIA or something. That'd be a pretty good excuse, wouldn't it?
Very good.
Right.
Yes.
Otherwise, where the hell are you, Mark? What's going on?
Raymond says, I would like to see Bart have a go at Grok. Musk claims it's designed to respond with maximal truth.
I believe that when I see it. Just in case you didn't know, Pim, I've just finished premiering a video where I had a little discussion with ChatGPT about things and stuff.
Good. How did that go?
Well, it was wildly amusing for me. The thing claims to be able to learn. No, it can't learn. No, it does not learn.
Is it wrong on the interwebs?
It is wrong on the interwebs, yes. Very wrong indeed. I pointed it out and it said, yes, you're absolutely right. I said, I know I'm right, and you did too, because you're supposed to have checked the rightness of what you said in the first place. You didn't. You gave me the wrong answer. Now you've given me the right answer because I've told you what it is. And then I'm going to go back half an hour later and check that you've learned. No, it gave the same answer again.
Good.
Yeah. Wrong again.
Hi-de-ho, meteorinos.
Hello, Patty. How are you? And Francois. Francois. Wherefore art thou, Francois? Apologies.
Jesus Christ.
No, not him. Francois.
Get some testosterone into that voice.
Yes. Yes.
Evening, Queen Pim from London Viking. Good evening, London Viking.
Hermod bro.
Someone else said hi.
Did they?
Lots of people say hi.
Good. Lots of people.
But, Captain, my captain. Good evening, Pim.
Hello, Gung Fu.
Hello, fellows.
No questions?
Susie Bart. Evening, sir. I have a couple.
Who's fucking around down there? It's you, Snoozy. What are you fucking around at? Huh?
Opinion on good quality milk.
Yeah, it's all good. As long as you don't react badly to it, and so long as it doesn't add adiposity to your frame unnecessarily. So you will need to moderate a bit, perhaps. I like a bit of raw goat's milk, which I have a bit of. It is in the form of kefir, made by Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates, etc. I also have some, well, turns out that it's pasteurized by virtue of I put it in my coffee. And obviously the heat of the boiling water when you make the coffee pasteurizes it. But nonetheless, I don't react badly to goat's milk, or at least not that goat.
Well, you drank it raw this summer.
I did.
So, and you did not die?
And I didn't die. Incredible.
Or
get fat, or get mucousy, or have skin conditions, or any of that.
Good.
Good.
Right. According to the Randle cycle, if glucose and fat are blocked from within the cell, what happens to the glucose and fat in the bloodstream and outside the cells? Where do they go?
Excuse me. If
really
the cells are unable to uptake glucose and fats because they have enough of all of that already, then those things cycle back to the liver and are then used for things like de novo lipogenesis. Mostly. Also, the muscle cells are capable of de novo lipogenesis and a storage on site themselves, actually. So that's interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on taking Lugol's iodine supplementation and dosage?
Fine if there is a demonstrated deficiency of iodine in your case. I tend to suggest that it should be used topically, i.e. drop it on your skin rather than taking it orally. And the dosage, well, I mean, it depends on the level of your particular identified deficiency as to how much you should take, if any at all. That's the reason I say topically on the skin, because if your body doesn't need it, it will sit on your skin and won't be absorbed. If you do need it, your body will say, thank you very much.
Does it say that?
Yep.
Okay. Any recommendations for process of refeeding and rehydrating after 3 to 5 days dry fasting, please?
Yes, the recommendations, not what I actually do myself. The recommendations, shut the fuck up. The recommendations are that you start with something mostly liquid and not too much of it.
Okay, let me do this.
Okay, fine, you do it.
Start with water. Plain freaking water before you do anything
Plain
else.
freaking water.
No electrolytes in that water.
No.
And if you do have any electrolytes, then you want potassium rather than sodium, or you might get some edema.
Yes.
Water retention.
Yes, and or other more serious problems.
Then you continue with other liquids, maybe bone broth or kefir or something like that.
Egg drop.
If it's just 3 days, you can probably get away with, doing it quicker. If it's 5, you probably want to slow it down a little bit. If it's more than 5, you do want to slow it down.
Very good.
To be safe.
Right, good. I'm glad you're here. You're here to help.
You're welcome. Then I will go for something easy to digest, like if you know the eggs are good quality, you can eat them raw, but lightly cooked eggs, maybe slow cooked meat, something that is easy to digest the next day or 2. Right, we have a super chat.
Yay, super chats.
Super chats, thank you. Cheers from South Florida. Your recent videos on Cywes and Nick fucking Wild.
Yes, good. You're welcome. Thank you for the 1999 greenbacks. That will keep the electricity on for positively minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
On the upside of that, though, I've decided in my infinite wisdom, with acquiescence from Her Majesty Pim, Queen of all of Pimbatia, that we are going to put up an array of solar panels to generate some electricity. We're also probably going to back that up with a diesel generator in case of network failures, which seem to happen here.
Too often.
Because we're in a third world country. And not only that, they can't even supply us with a stable and correct voltage that they're supposed to. In New Zealand, well, we get our electricity from outside of Pimbatia. We get it from New Zealand. It's supposed to be 240 volts alternating current. And what we're getting is 190 to 209 variable. Mostly, I'm told by an engineer that was out here to look at it recently, that he thinks probably the issue is there are too many customers on a very small transformer. So we're going to deal with it. That's what we're going to do. Solar arrays, probably a diesel generator in months to come when you all super chat us enough. That's a hint. You can super chat us all you like. We love it. It'll teach us a real lesson. Yes, and that way we can also feed Fluffy. Can't we, Fluffy? Otherwise, she'll have to starve. I'm sorry. Unless we catch some more nasty animals that are trying to eat our birds.
She doesn't eat them, though.
No, she's a bit princessy.
So
I wonder if that's because she's the puppy of the queen. She knows it too.
She's your dog.
Like, fuck, your stinky face, eh? Are du världens stinkigaste hund?
Right, next one.
Yes.
What's the deal with parasites? Are they like bacteria in terms of they can't be called good or bad ones? Everyone has them, or is it just people eating raw foods that could be exposed to them?
Well, there are all sorts of different sorts of parasites that are good, bad, and indifferent. It seems in terms of their effect, depending very much on how many of them are there, whether they're under control by the immune system or not, etc. There are also those who say that they have quite an effect on things like allergies and reactions to things, in that they actually tone down the immune system And the reason they tone down the immune system is so that the immune system doesn't kill them off. So it's kind of almost a symbiotic thing to some level, perhaps. I still think in my mind that the idea of creepy crawlies living in me isn't so great. So I think what we'll do is do a periodic nuking of them with a horsewormer or something when we can get some soon.
Good. So I had to look up who this is. Bart chilling with Valentina Shevchenko.
Who the fuck's that?
She looks quite fit. I'll take that. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
I'll take that.
I'd take it too.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, bye-bye phone on the floor again.
Because there's no fucking space on this desk at all.
That's because Ted hasn't done his duty and tidied up in here.
Jesus.
There's shit everywhere. You're quite right. If you could see this desk, the actual desk that we're really sitting at, not this pretend one, yes, it's fake, you'd see that it's covered in bottles of cerule, coffee cups, timing switches, bits of cable.
Battery chargers.
Yes. USB connectors.
Fucking American dollars.
Yes. See? All sorts of things here.
Yeah.
Nothing of any use. Oh, and this.
Well, shall we read the next one then?
Oh, why not?
Why is it that some very thin people can't gain weight no matter how much they eat? I know some that tried really hard to gain but couldn't even after eating tons of food.
I don't think anybody actually ate tons of food. Everybody has a limit of food that they can possibly eat in terms of the capaciousness of their stomach. And it gets to a point where you simply cannot eat anymore. And if that's not enough for that person's particular metabolism, etc., the way that their natural body shape is according to their genes, I guess that's what it's going to be. Also, a lot of things play into it, like activity levels, stress levels, health in general, toxicology from the environment and other things. It's a rich tapestry.
And some people just have a naturally high metabolism. It's not that common, but
yes,
they can still be unhealthy. Keep that in mind.
Yes, indeed. Good.
I know at least 2 people who are or were skinny that got cancer at quite a young age. And this was before the shit shot.
The
shit shot.
The shit shot. Yes.
Shit shot.
Righto. Good.
Okay. Is countering the lipotoxicity misconception on your list for video ideas? Jenny Mitch made a glaringly clickbait and terrible video on this with Dr. Nadir Ali.
No, it's not really on my radar at the moment. It might be in future. Who knows? Who knows? If enough people tell me that's what they want to see, I might react. Or, given that I have PDA, I might say, no, fuck you all. I'm doing what I want to.
Good. Any thoughts, if any, on Mark Rippetoe?
Never heard of him. Sorry. Who the hell is that?
I recognize the name, but I don't really know more than that. Is there any truth to the morphs, body types, endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph, etc.?
These are phenotypical designations on a single set of 3 dimensions. So they're not genotypical, nothing to do with genes, nothing to do with biology necessarily. They are how a person presents on their fatness, muscularity, and thinness. And what you do is you get a plot and it sits somewhere within a triangle. Its actual utility, about none, it would seem. It's one of those things we learned when I was doing my first undergraduate degree, which happened to be in exercise physiology. And that was all the rage back then. This was like 20-something years ago now. They're probably still teaching it because nothing changes. But the actual point of it, nothing. I mean, you can look in a mirror and work that out, can't you? Geez, I'm tall and thin, or geez, I'm short and fat, or God damn, I'm handsome. That's what Ted says when he looks in the mirror.
Okay, we're done.
That'll do. What's next?
Are leg raises and deadlifts biomechanically harmful to the spine, potentially causing low back problems in the long term?
I haven't seen anything that would convince me of that. Any exercises done incorrectly can be problematic long term. That's the caveat. I have not personally seen any studies that say absolutely universally you should not do those particular exercises. I'm open to the suggestion if somebody wants to publish such a thing. Or if there is one, because I haven't really kept up with that particular aspect of the literature, you could point me to it. In which case, why are you asking me the fucking question?
The thing is that, I mean, deadlifts make sense. One would lift things that way, but who would naturally do leg raises? Like, in what situation do you need to do that? Especially if you have straight legs. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
Cool.
If I can only afford ground beef, can I get enough fat from it? I know some is lost in cooking more so than steak, but is there still enough, or do I need to add fat like butter?
It depends on several things, including the particular fatness of that particular ground beef. 80-20 is probably not going to be enough. You probably need to add to that. I would add butter or lard or tallow or ghee, whatever.
Depends. 80-20 would probably be fine if you eat all of the butter. I mean, all of the fat.
Yes. As in, don't fry it up and then drain the fat off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sort of thing. It depends. The other thing that it depends on, other than all of that, is your individual genes and the environment in which you have placed them up to this point.
Because 80-20 would be close to 50% fat energy intake, which would suit some people.
Perhaps.
Not everyone. I like fat too much for that. All right. Should we be concerned about toxins accumulating in the fat of non-grass-fed beef?
Look, there are 1,000 billion things you could spend your life worrying about. That's not high on my list, personally. What we do, and even more so now because we've actually started doing it, is gaining our protein nutrition from the land on which we live here. In other words, we are beginning the process of eating our own animals. We have started with several birds. They were quite tasty. R.I.P. Brian,
No.
Clammy, and Krusty.
There were just 3 Brians.
How many Brians were there? The number of the counting shall be 3. They were tasty. Thanks for your sacrifice for our ongoing livelihood and stuff. Split Air, the ewe, has gone to meet her maker and will be back with us, having been butchered up Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or something.
Pick her up on Wednesday.
Right. Yes. She's gone completely to pieces. And then, so she'll be tasty. So there'll be a lot of sheep meat to be had in the next little bit. Something probably we're estimating probably something like at least 40 kilograms of meat off that animal, because she was a fully grown sheep of about 80 kilos in mass.
We'll see. And hopefully the other sheep will be better behaved now when she's gone.
Perhaps they will. She was the ringleader, the problem. Also, she was the one that I had most connection with. She would come up for a pat and a scratch on the nose and have a chat about life and things. I'm quite sad, really, but nonetheless, life goes on. Her Majesty deemed, off with her head and legs and other bits.
Well, I'm the one fucking chasing her around with fence posts.
Yes.
Because she breaks through the fence.
Yes.
And threatening to kill her myself. Pretty much. Not fucking amused.
Right, good.
She had to go. Anyhow.
Yep.
Should hummingbirds consume exogenous carbohydrates? And what does that have to do with us, if anything, since we, I assume, are not hummingbirds?
You're onto it, Joseph. You've got it. You understood what I said. Good. This is with respect, Your Majesty, to the critiques of one Dr. Saivez during the week.
Right.
Where a large part of his argument was, this is what hummingbirds do. They eat lots of carbohydrates, which is really no better than the we can't possibly be carnivores, you see, for we don't have sharp pointy teeth.
We have the same as hummingbirds thing.
Do we? I'm a bit like that, aren't I?
Mm.
I'm here all week.
Jesus
Unless,
Christ.
of course, the Queen deems it's my head that should come off next.
Yeah,
And that's quite likely.
You're breaking out of.
Right.
Is dairy indicated at any age, or is there a specific age range that is most indicated?
Indicated would be too strong a word. Indicated means is required, should be done, is necessary. Dairy is not necessary in the human diet post-weaning at all. It's a choice. It's an option. It's one I use myself with good effect, I think. I'm quite happy to continue doing so. If you are one of those people that does not do well on dairy, then I'd suggest don't do that. And Ted agrees, don't you, Ted? Of course he does. Get back down there and twiddle that knob. Those knobs. Thank you, Ted. Good lad, Ted. Good lad.
Pim, what is your skincare routine? Plain soap,
Yes.
cereal night cream, or tallow. That's it. I don't do fancy shit.
The cereal night cream is rather good, by the way. It's infused with AFA, the same stuff that works in the tablets to release the stem cells from your bone marrow. The night cream brings forward the stem cells in the dermis under your skin. Excuse me.
No, I've never used any cosmetics of any fucking kind, that sort of thing. So that might help.
Maybe.
With me not having to use other shit.
Shit.
Yes. Sorry to disappoint you if you were expecting something fancy going on there. Can you explain what damage is caused when the Randle cycle is activated? Any example about glycation? By the way, what the All Blacks did when Maradona died is wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, I have no idea what the All Blacks did when Maradona died, so I'm sure it was, though. Can I explain the damage caused by when the Randle cycle is activated? Well, several things occur when the Randle cycle is highly activated chronically. Number one, the level of inorganic phosphate in the cell cytosol of the affected cells will be upregulated. It will go up, that concentration necessarily. That has an effect on all the phosphate activatable pro-inflammatory cytokines, i.e. you'll get chronically inflamed, which is not a good thing, because the sequelae of chronic systemic inflammation include, but are not limited to, most forms of cancer, atherosclerosis, heart disease as a highly important contributory factor, most forms of dementia, type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes in extreme cases, all the big killers, basically. Secondly, what happens is the blood glucose level will be chronically elevated in that case if you keep pouring carbohydrates down your neck, in which case A1C damage will be apparent, measurable as such. Not a good thing. How's that for a couple of just off the top of my head things?
We have a super chat that we missed. They don't show the $2 ones for some reason.
Well,
thank you, Feral Grandma. Will the next lot be named Bruce?
No, Brian. They're all called Brian, and so are their wives.
Well, we have the babies. They still call the babies. There are like 25 of them.
Some of them aren't babies anymore. Have you noticed? Some of them are actually bigger than Brian's.
Well, they're still the babies. Yeah, whatever. They have longer legs than the Bryans. This is why the Bryans are going to be crossed with those next year for hopefully quicker growing and bigger meat birds.
Ducks and chickens. That's what we had for dinner. Delicious. We didn't have any ducks yet.
Roger Rabbit. If you keep speaking French, you will keep getting ignored because I don't speak French, and so nor does he. So we don't understand what the fuck you're saying.
Je ne sais pas, je ne sais pas, je ne sais pas. That's what we'll say. Yes.
It's easier to digest cooked meat.
Maybe. It's individual.
Is salt considered harmful or undigestible? Is it considered stone?
I mean, salt is rock. No, salt is not rock. And salt is neither indigestible nor harmful in the right amount.
Well, it's not digested as food. It's dissolved.
Well, it ionizes, and those ions become part of your electrolyte pool, unless they're not needed, in which case they're excreted, assuming you have normal kidney function. Basically, what I suggest is that you stop listening to people who can't even spell their name without using a number.
Good.
Especially people who think the earth is flat and that you should stare directly at the sun and drink your girlfriend's menses, and that being a bit stabby is okay. Those kind of people. You shouldn't listen to them.
Really? If I eat twice within 1 hour, is it considered as one meal, or is there an optimal time between two food intakes that would make body perceive it as a single meal?
Why would you do that? if you need to eat twice within an hour, you haven't eaten enough, have you, in the first place?
Well, if you eat at a restaurant and you eat several courses, you might eat twice.
Well, that's a pretty
within
good
an hour.
point. That's considered a meal, isn't
Yeah.
it? Mm.
In my opinion, it's one meal.
I think this is semantics, really, rather than
Yeah.
anything practical. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Ask sensible questions, please.
Can a non-seafood eating carnivores get enough iodine without supplementing?
Yes, they can.
I remember you had a person on your channel, I believe she was about only milk,
Oh, yeah.
or something about parasites, and I remember you saying after she was unhinged. Who was that?
Well, what you're talking about is Lushmi the dairy girl. I don't know if she's still around or alive.
I think she stopped with the just milk thing, though.
Of course. I mean, people that have these ridiculous ideas swap and change every month depending on what gets them views. She could be out, I don't know what she's doing. I couldn't care less. And yes, she was absolutely unhinged. That was quite clear in the interview. If it's not on my current YouTube offerings, you'll find it if you take an Odyssey with 2 E's of Discovery. Never mind the of Discovery, just type in Odyssey with 2 E's, S-E-E. You'll find it. I have several channels there, one of which is called Nutrition Science Watchdog, I think, still.
Very good.
My main channel. That's where all my old videos that used to be on YouTube that aren't anymore, that's where they are. All of them. Goes back about 7 years worth. Goodness gracious. And what a rip snorting ride it's been, huh?
Opinion on a Jonas Wonder planet.
Okay, are you new here? Because I've answered this question 1,000 billion times already. A Jonas Wonder planet was an actor. An ignorant actor, an ill-disciplined, ill-trained actor with a Wednesday afternoon certificate in bumfuckery who is dead. That's my opinion. A dead imbecile.
Jesus Christ, the 2 people speaking French, go away.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
And they're taking up the whole fucking chat.
That person that said Earth is flat there, they need perma-banning immediately.
Okay, I didn't see.
When you see it, perma-ban them immediately. I will not have that on my channel.
How to improve sleep apnea. You guys are legends. Keep it going.
Well, there are CPAP devices which work for that, as far as I'm aware. If you've got extra fat on your body, get rid of it. If you've got inflammation, get rid of that. I would suggest 5 health hacks on my 5 health hacks video would be a good approach. Failing that, consultancies are available. bit.ly/Bart-Kay.
So you mean the person that is named Earth is flat?
Yes, it's not. Ban them immediately. I won't have it. I will not have ridiculous imbecilic garbage on my channel unless I'm critiquing it on someone else's video. Bye, Earth is flat. No, it fucking isn't. See ya.
Get a new name.
That's it.
Why do some people... Maybe I should get up on the screen.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Why do some people who you destroyed in a debate, such as a PhD Tony or Durian, falsely claim victory, even when they're fans, while others admit defeat?
Because they have very, very serious ego problems, and/or they have a lack of comprehension to even understand how badly they've been ring punched. Basically, they're punch drunk. They think they won. I bet Richard Burgess is claiming victory. Oh my God, that was funny, wasn't it? Finally, after 4.5 years, 5 years that he's been hiding from me, he finally fronted up to Richard Burgess. That so-called debate is available on my channel if you want to watch it. If you don't watch the whole thing, that's fine. Just watch the first 5 minutes. You'll get the gist of it. Incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible. Yeah, it's an ego problem thing. And Dunning-Kruger.
You don't have any of this ego thing, do you?
Ted says I'm fine.
Okay, we'll have to trust Ted then.
Indeed. All hail Ted. Don't question the Ted.
Antibiotics for H. pylori, triple or quadruple?
I wouldn't do it, no, personally. I would take a different approach. bit.ly/Bart-Kay.
Good. My friend found out he's a LMHR.
No, he fucking isn't. No such thing exists.
And was suggested to increase his carbs to 100 grams.
No, stupid idea.
He would be out of ketosis and wants to continue being on carnivore, ketogenic diet. Any advice or tips on that?
Right. Well, as I said, LMHR does not exist. It's a ridiculous construct put together by someone with no training whatsoever in health science, a software engineer named Feldman. No such thing as an established phenotype of any way, shape, or form. And no, adding carbohydrates to your diet is never a good idea. Simple. What's next?
What's next is, what is your particular reasoning for proper exercise, making it to your list of 5 health hacks?
Because they are the 5 things that I have found to be most efficacious for people at large, any given person, any average person whatsoever. Your mileage may vary, of course, in which case you need to consult with me so that we can add a 6th or 7th health hack in some cases. But the top 5 work 95% of the time for most people under most circumstances. That's why. How's that?
That's fine.
Excellent.
Let's go to the next one.
Why not?
Is it indicated to do 1 enema a day, coffee or water-based? Me and my sister have started doing it.
No, absolutely not.
Jesus
What
Christ.
the hell is wrong with you? There are very few things you should stick up your anal orifice, and coffee is not one of them.
Especially not every fucking day.
No.
Why wouldn't you eat butter?
I do.
I don't understand.
I don't understand the question. Why wouldn't you? Well, you would. I would. It's a good idea.
For most people, maybe.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Unless you're super sensitive to dairy.
Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're racist and you don't like butyrate.
Maybe. If we are hyper-carnivores, what percentage of animal-based food would be appropriate to be considered hyper-carnivore?
Well, there is a definition that's proffered by the so-called scientific fraternity, so-called at large, and that definition is that any animal consuming 70% of its so-called units of heat energy in the form of animal products is a hyper-carnivore. Humans, it seems, for the last at least 110,000 years, probably for our entire existence, actually, of 350,000 years as a species, except for the last 10 to 12,000 post-agrarian revolution, that is, we have consumed 80 to 85% of our so-called heat units of energy in the form of animal proteins and fats. There was very little plant material to speak of at all, and that which was consumed was largely fibrous tubers without much in the way of carbohydrate or anything else in them except the fiber. And of course, those fibers break down a little bit in the human enteric system to short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, the very thing that those racist anti-butter people are against. Fuck you, stink. What have you been eating?
Well, who knows?
Probably shit.
Yeah, just always down eating either goat, duck, or chicken shit.
Oh, snoozy.
Ever tried raw meat, but perhaps it's superior to cooked?
I have tried raw meat, yes. And perhaps it is.
You didn't even complain too much last time.
No, see how the word perhaps, however, leaves perhaps not as well entirely on the table?
Why do you not advocate moderate state cardio?
I've explained that 10,000 times on my channel already. I have a whole playlist on exercise physiology. Perhaps you should go and binge watch that and ask me the question after that. Basically, it's because it's not indicated. It's not an ancestrally, genetically appropriate mode of movement for human beings, and it tends to lead to all sorts of problems later in life if you do too much of it over many years, in short.
How is life on the compound, also for people that join for lodgings and fooding?
Well, we haven't had too many people here of late. It is, of course, the dead of winter just about. We're just coming up to the winter solstice here. We've had -degrees for the last week for several days in a row. We had frozen water lines and pipe burstages and all sorts of things going on. It was mayhem and destruction, and there was nobody here to help. Ted was useless. He didn't help a bit.
Jesus Christ.
Neither did Professor Fluffy.
Snoozy?
Or Fluffy. She was even less helpful. She just stayed in the house and went, and stuff.
Pretty much.
That was helpful. So I had to do everything, basically. So if you want to come and help on the farm here, you can, perhaps. You have to get past Ted, of course, in an interview situation. We'll have it on Zoom. You can talk to us and we can talk to you and ask you all sorts of tricky questions. And you can give us all sorts of tricky answers about how skillful you are at fixing things and stuff. And then we'll agree to a time that you can come and visit us, depending on immigration and things. Will depend on how long that is and whether or not you're any good. and job's good one, pretty much.
Okay. We have a super chat.
Excellent. We love those.
Yes. How best can one distinguish between injuries and pain versus soreness exercises 2 to 3 times per week? When should they push through pain if mobility isn't hindered?
I've always been of a mind that you should wait until the discomfort, if there is any, from a previous session is down to 20% before you even think about exercising again. The thing about exercise is the whole point of the exercise is to get the training response, which takes time. It takes recovery being a passive thing, basically. And if you're just going to add more insult, i.e. more exercise, before the healing has occurred, you're actually just working against yourself. It's fucking ridiculous. It's not about the exercise. It's about the healing from the exercise that causes the fitness to increase. You have to listen to your body quite a bit on that. How's that? Excellent.
So how do you prefer your eggs? Soft-boiled, sunny side up, scrambled?
Pim prefers hers unfertilized. Quite rightly so, too.
What?
Your eggs, you like them unfertilized?
My personal eggs.
Yeah, that's right. Your personal eggs. You don't want those fertilized. God, no.
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine a small mini us?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh, God. What a horrific thought. We don't want any of those. Eggs, I'm not a huge fan of eggs. I eat eggs occasionally. I tend to eat them either fried or boiled hard.
However Pim cooks them.
Pretty much. Or if she offers me some hard-boiled eggs that aren't, the dogs get them. Because I will not eat a snotty egg. Ugh.
Well, I'm the opposite. I like them very soft-boiled.
I don't mind the yolk soft, but if there's any soft white, I'm like, oh, God, that's fucking disgusting. Get that away from me.
And I don't like any hard yolk at all. That's disgusting. Right. Next.
Yes.
I feel euphoric on organs. Why are you so against them? And I've been eating a lot of liver and feel better than ever before.
Well, you do you. That's absolutely fine with me. It's absolutely no skin off my dick whatsoever what you do and how you feel. If you feel great eating organs, you put as many organs in your mouth as you like. But I bet you won't get as many organs in your mouth as Frank Tifanus gets in his, because that's fucking epic. Why am I against it? Well, I've explained that 1,000 billion times on my channel already. Perhaps you should watch my videos and learn. Liver is the one particular organ that I think is a bad idea. If you want to eat other organs, you do you. If you want to eat liver as well, that's also you do you. I don't give a shit. But I don't eat liver. And the reasons for it are not what you'd think. And they are covered on my channel already in great detail. Perhaps you should go and look. Also, people, before you send me an email saying you should do a response to such and such a person, have a fucking look and see if I've already done it. Because I probably have. And that means look here on YouTube and on the Odyssey SEE. I have done responses to more characters than you could possibly imagine over many, many years, about 7. At various levels of shoutiness, sweariness, abrasiveness, and whatever else. So take your pick and your shovel and bring them to Pembatia and start digging the trenches.
Why are my electrolytes still out of balance after 5 weeks carnivore? Do I just need to keep salting heavily and be patient?
Okay, how do you know your electrolytes are out of balance? First point. Secondly, 5 weeks is fuck all. It takes usually upwards of 6 months to get fully adapted to the carnivore diet, especially if you hammered straight over and just went carnivore one day without doing a proper transition. And yes, you should keep salting according to taste. And yes, you should be patient. There you go.
Should we consider taking vermifuge from time to time?
What the fuck is that?
Sounds like a dewormer to me.
In which case, possibly, depending what's in it.
Well, have you ever dewormed yourself?
Yes.
When?
A couple of times when it was obvious that I had symptoms of being wormy at various times in my life.
When?
Oh, years ago. Not recently.
I have never dewormed myself.
Ooh, you'll be full of them then.
Clearly.
Are they in your brain? Have you got mind worms?
Maybe. How can one distinguish between
that
soreness?
Sounds very, very familiar, doesn't it?
Yes. Don't ask it several times, please.
I'm not sure if that's the same asker or somebody asking the same question.
That's... Okay. Opinion on the possible healing effects of magnetism and Dr. Dean Bonneal.
I have never heard of Dr. Dean Bonneal.
Bonley. Apparently.
And magnetism may or may not have an effect on the healing process. I'm yet to be convinced one way or the other. We are, of course, beings of electromagnetism. That's what we are.
Yes.
Space-time itself seems to be an electromagnetic phenomenon, I think. Phenomenon. So yes, magnetism may be helpful in certain circumstances, absolutely.
What do you make of not nibbling Nick? He seems to be ignoring you or refusing to engage with your criticism or you at all. Disappointing.
Not really. It's not surprising. Most of these characters do tend to ignore me. Fine. I've already made it quite clear my thoughts on Nick, not nibbling Nick. I think he's a very young man, very early in his research career. I think he's absolutely lacking in good sense, wisdom of any kind scientifically, or any level of appropriate experience to be taking the role he is taking as an influencer of folks. I don't think he's in any position to be influencing anybody. I think he's an idiot. I really do. I think he's probably a very nice young man. He seems to be a very nice young man, a very respectful young man. That's probably why he's avoiding me, because I don't come across that way and I make no apology for it. I've earned the right to be a grumpy old cunt.
Have you?
I have absolutely earned it.
Have you earned the right to be a grumpy old cunt?
By, number one, being an old cunt, and number two, having seen it all, been there, done that, and got the fucking T-shirt in terms of the science. I'm the science. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Don't question the science. And Ted will back me up on that, won't you, Ted? Yeah, see? Ted agrees with me. Get back down to that non-fiddling. Good boy. Good boy, Ted.
All right. I'm a beginner in the carnivore diet, and I wonder simply if there is a second best type of meat more than beef in terms of nutritional value.
Lamb would be second, in my mind. Beef and lamb and beef.
What about game?
It's a bit gamey, and usually it's a bit lean as game, generally, but you can have some game. I generally say, look, 80% of your intakes ought to be ruminant meats and associated fat, not organs. Unless, of course, you love stuffing organs in your mouth, in which case you do you. I don't. But then 20% also everything else. Fish, pork, poultry, game, alligators, duckbill platypi, whatever. Small furry creatures from Alpha Centauri.
Right. Should I eat pasteurized dairy if I don't have access to raw dairy? I've heard the calcium can end up in places it shouldn't end up in.
Well, that's the problem with listening to all sorts of people who have all sorts of opinions about things. Opinions being just like assholes, in that almost everybody's got one, and at any given time it's almost certainly full of shit. The thing with dairy is it's not necessary. So should I consume dairy? The answer is no. Could you choose to consume dairy, pasteurized or not? Sure. That's an individual choice. If you don't seem to react badly to dairy, then I would suggest, if you think it's a benefit to you and you enjoy it, what the hey, basically. And if you take in more calcium than your body needs, it will excrete it, assuming that your kidneys are functioning normally. Oh, poor Snoozy.
She doesn't like being massaged.
The things she has to put up with.
But still, you won't go away.
If I sit on your lap, will you massage my back?
Maybe, but you're too fucking heavy.
Rude.
It's just what you are. You're not a little Snoozy.
140 pounds and I'm too heavy.
Yeah, my legs will probably lose blood supply very quickly.
You have robust legs, my love.
Not that robust. In OMAD,
yes.
Does the timing of the eating window matter, or is it any time of day okay?
Geez, I've never had that question before either. The answer is it does not matter, no. Or it doesn't seem to, or make a meaningful difference. You do you, when it works for you. Fuck you, stink. It's vile.
Yeah.
Hey? Have you had your face in the poo-poos again? Have you? Right.
Opinion on cold exposure, and is it beneficial?
I have no opinion on it whatsoever. I don't do it myself. I find it completely unbearable. I hate cold with a passion. But you do you.
Oh, boy.
There is some theory around it possibly being beneficial in some ways under various circumstances, potentially.
I think it probably is very beneficial, but
Mm.
unpleasant.
If nothing else, thermogenesis might be handy. Who knows?
What is your opinion of bone broth, and are there negatives? And where is Pimbatia?
Bone broth may or may not be negative depending what's in it. And one of the things that's potentially in it, depending on where you source the bones from, is heavy metals, apparently. Whatever. If you're taking in more collagen than your body needs, that can also be a problem, because one of the breakdown products of excess collagen is oxalate. Pimbatia is in the Tasman district of New Zealand, which is in the upper quadrant, if you like, of the South Island of the two main islands that make up New Zealand. Oh, poor Newsy. It's terrible, isn't it? The abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible abuse. Mm.
Is there anyone that too much would be better for?
Yes.
Who?
Case by case. Well, people that cannot consume enough in one meal because of compromised stomach capacity. Maybe they've had a tummy tuck.
Maybe that would be me, even though I've not had a tummy tuck.
Perhaps. Maybe there are those with various metabolic derangements born of a lifetime of the wrong sort of thing that need a bit more time to slide into it. There are times when I would say to someone, fine, two's okay if you can't do one. Ideally, I think one is the best answer, but two is also perfectly okay if you can't do one, I think. You won't have to hand your card in.
No? That's generous.
I know.
Water with a little bit of salt to drink while you are training. Does this have any positive effects on performance?
The jury is out on that. It depends case by case, both within individuals and between individuals. There's no hard answer to that question available anywhere in the literature. There are those that make inferences on it in various studies. None of them are hugely convincing.
I just got my calcium score test back, was 404, been carnivore about 1.5 years, wants to put me on statin and baby aspirin. Blood pressure is around 120/80 and I am 70.
I would suggest nattokinase and 5 health hacks, all 5, are a better approach, and under no circumstances would I touch statin medication with a fucking barge pole. Under no circumstances. It is a dangerous, contraindicated metabolic poison that will only break down your ability to function normally as a human being. It will not affect your likelihood of any outcome in future, except things like an 18,500% relative increase in the risk of the universally fatal neurological condition ALS, a large increase in the likelihood of statin-induced rhabdomyolysis, which is the breakdown of muscles, including the heart muscle, the very thing that the statin is supposed to protect. It's absolute garbage. It absolutely should be illegal as a drug for human use or anybody else, and it's criminal that it's allowed to occur.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm very, very clear on statins, I hope. Do not touch a statin with a barge pole would be, well, that's what I would do. That's not advice because I don't give medical advice, but if someone told me I should be on a statin, I would tell them, transfer my records today. You are no longer my physician. You are fired, motherfucker. How dare you? You incompetent fucking hack, is what I would say. How's that?
Is it worth pursuing a job in nutrition nowadays when they are pushing the plant-based agenda and fill your head with garbage?
Well, a nutritionist is anyone who calls himself a nutritionist. You don't need any training or indoctrination or any certificates to call yourself a nutritionist. It's not a protected professional term. You can be a nutritionist today. If you want, you can start today. How's that?
What advice can you give to people who have a low bile flow and on carnivore diet?
Well, ox bile, if they genuinely do have low bile. Also, make sure you keep up the intake to a reasonable degree, as high as you can, of the fats. Don't give in to that and reduce your fat too much, because that will only exacerbate the problem. And if you've been anywhere near a statin, get the fuck off it yesterday. How's that? Also, 5 health hacks will probably help.
What do you make of the theory that we should avoid all things we dislike, such as working, exercise, and have as many kids as possible?
How are you going to pay for those kids then if you don't work in some way?
I dislike having as many kids as possible. How does this work then?
Well, then you wouldn't do it.
But it says
avoid
all things and have kids.
Yeah, well, that's just daft, isn't it? That's just ridiculous. Gil or Jill or however you want to pronounce it. It's just a stupid idea, isn't it? From start to finish.
So who says that you should avoid all things you dislike?
Hippies, probably. Hippies and jippos, I would suggest. The people that our taxes have to pay for.
This is how you get depressed.
Is it?
Yeah. Because if you just lay on the sofa all day eating cookie dough ice cream, you're going to get fat and depressed, aren't you?
Probably.
Because that's what most people would choose to do instead, and maybe play computer games or something and get completely zombified and brain dead. Stupid fucking advice. Have the kids if you want them. Right, shut up now.
Oh.
Do you recognize the dangers of EMF and dirty electricity?
I've heard of it. Am I convinced? No. Is it a possibility? Yes, in some circumstances. What's next?
Does muscle fascia elasticity limit maximum muscle growth?
That's like pinning down a mixed variable outcome to one single variable, which is ridiculous, Daniel. It might under certain circumstances. It's a rich tapestry.
But when did you realize several disciplines were being used incorrectly and that you had the facts to show that they were wrong? Were you always adversarial to absolute bullshit lies?
The answer to your two-part question there really is immediately and yes, I have. It's hardwired. I can't help myself.
Pim, do you ever not take Bart's advice?
Constantly.
Constantly. I think we have much of the same opinion when it comes to nutrition, though.
Give or take. Mostly. Yeah. But that's about it. Everything else, no agreement on anything, pretty much.
Hey, Bart, is it okay to stop consuming salt on a carnivore diet?
Yes, if you stop doing it and you don't suffer any consequences as a result thereof, which is individual.
Do you think the sun ages your skin?
No, I don't think it does. No. If taken in sensible amounts at the right time of year and avoiding the very worst part of the day in the very middle.
I don't do any of that, and I don't have 80-year-old skin.
Well, you're not 80.
No, but if it ages your skin, then... And I mean, I've never done that, so I don't think it makes a lot of difference.
But you're a summer baby.
Where did you get that from?
Because you love summer. You hate the winter. You're a summer baby. I like summer. Lie around naked in the sun and stuff.
I haven't done much of that. And I can't take too much heat, to be fair. I'm like Goldilocks. I want it in the middle.
Stay out of the kitchen then if you don't like the heat. No, don't stay out of the kitchen because then we'd all starve. Imagine if Ted was the chef. If we had to rely on Ted.
He's not in the kitchen either. So.
No, that's what I'm saying. We'd all starve.
All right. Why do you think that people who think we are omnivores say that we rarely ate large animals because they were so hard to hunt successfully and say we ate mostly bugs and plants?
Because they're fucking stupid, ignorant people that have been influenced by idiots without the critical thinking skills to look straight through that and go, that's absolute fucking garbage. That's why.
Why do you think we develop things like weapons and stuff? Probably because if you take down a fucking mammoth, you will be fed for a month versus having to be out expending a lot of energy collecting all the, bugs and plants and whatever and not getting a lot of energy.
You will eat the bugs.
Makes no sense.
You will own nothing and you will be happy eating the bugs.
Well, I want to see them eat the bugs.
I want to see that kind of eat some shit.
Any opinions on sprinting for exercise? Is it indicated or should I just stick to resistance training?
What is indicated for you in your exercise program depends on your particular requirements, needs, and current fitness status. In which case, you should probably consult with me if you have no idea. In which case, you would go to bit.ly/Bart-KAY, and we can discuss such needs and current statuses.
Why don't we have it on the screen?
What?
The banner rolly thing.
Click banners? click the second one from the bottom.
That one?
No,
Bottom.
And now go back to the chat window. There you go. Solved.
Yes.
My bad. I forgot. There it is.
Duh.
That's the Cyril and the follow Ted message. If you want to do consultancies, it's still bit.ly/Bart-KAY. Cool.
Righty-o.
What's next?
Do you have a target for omega-6 to 3? No doubt. Higher omega-3 intake does seem to reduce joint stiffness for me. Any opinion on that?
No, it's not about the ratio. It's about limiting omega-6 from plant sources to as close to zero as you can possibly maintain throughout the lifespan. No, you don't need to seek out extra omega-3. You get sufficient of that, consistent with you not consuming added omega-6 from meat and meat alone, including ruminant meat. It does have omega-3 in it, and you should absolutely, under no circumstances, in my opinion, take omega-3 supplements. Yes, it's time for a drink.
We're having a drink break here. There you go.
Right, as you were. Carry on, staff.
Yeah. How can blood glucose cause hypertension? Can you explain the mechanism, please? The All Blacks put Maradona's jersey on the ground when they played against Argentina. I'm Argentine.
Putting his jersey on the ground would seem pretty disrespectful, actually. If that's what they did.
A bit strange.
Anyway, whatever. High blood glucose doesn't cause hypertension directly. What it does do, though, is cause hyperinsulinemia, and hyperinsulinemia causes hypertension via an effect on limiting the renal excretion of sodium. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
What happens to those who don't have a gallbladder? How do they break down fat?
Well, they struggle. You can offer ox bile to such clients. That can help sometimes. I really wish they'd stop pulling out people's gallbladders for no fucking reason. What they need to do is deal with the reason why the gallstones are there in the first place, not pull out the organ in which the gallstones form. It's ridiculous. Fucking medical profession have much to answer for. Much indeed.
In a carnivore adapted state, what's your view on mTOR activation from frequent high leucine, high protein meals? Is there a risk of anabolic overdrive or dampened AMPK signaling? That's the same one.
Okay. I am not particularly interested in following these reductionist rabbit holes. I am interested in a person's affect in their life as that relates to their lifestyle. mTOR exists for a reason. It is encoded for in your very genes. It's there because it's supposed to be. We are also absolutely well adapted as a species throughout our entire existence, except for the last 11 or 12,000 years, to eat a diet consisting largely of protein with an amount of fat. Okay. AMPK also exists for a reason, and it has a job to do, and it does it. These things all work within the milieu of holistic functioning, and they're all controlled by the overall homeostatic mechanism. The genes really know what they're doing. They've been doing it a very, very long time. Reductionist science has only existed for several thousand years, and it's led us right up the garden path, hasn't it? On many issues. Trust me, I'm the science. I'm safe and effective. Don't question the science.
Okay, then.
Also, don't question Ted on the X platform, because he'll call you a cunt.
You said the C word.
Several times today. Already. Didn't you notice?
No. What do you think about Dr. Paul Mason?
I have no major problems with Dr. Paul Mason. Largely, I agree with most of what I've ever heard him say. We even did a couple of videos together a few years ago, which you might find on YouTube, or you might find them on Odyssey. They were quite good, I thought.
What would you say to someone who says everything in moderation, and that if it won't kill you immediately after consumption, that you can eat it?
I would say they're a fucking idiot, and they don't know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Simple as that. Why do you listen to such people, Luke?
Mm.
Why are you not more discerning about to whom it is you listen?
Hi Bart, can you make a record response to Cyrus's Randle cycle video?
Earlier, I mentioned that before you ask me whether or not I can do a response to something, that you check whether or not I've already fucking done so. This is an example of that. Go and have a fucking look on my channel. Do a search. It's already fucking there.
All right.
Thanks for the question. There's no real angst towards you. I'm just playing the role.
Are there any dangers from drinking blood?
Yes. Yes, there are, depending on whose or what's blood it is you're drinking. Absolutely, of course there are.
Do you think the LMHR research folks are just trying too hard to be the good boys of the low-carb community with a balanced approach?
No, I think what they are is vastly ill-experienced, very young men, very early in their research careers, without the first fucking clue of what they're doing or why, doing entirely the wrong things they should absolutely not be doing from many different angles, and relying on the so-called support of a senior author who couldn't be bothered to read the fucking thing before it was published. Obviously. I think they're completely out of their depth, completely out of their lane, and I think they should all shut the fuck up permanently now and get the fuck off social media. Stop advising people. They do not know what they're talking about. It's fucking disgraceful. Is that clear?
Fuck the shut up.
Fuck the shut up. Don't make us come there, me and Ted. We will bring soapy frog bucket and wetsuit with bottom cut out and rampant wild beast.
If I'm 12 or 13% body fat, which I feel is too low, but it's all on my lower belly, I want to lose that, but I don't want to lose any more weight or body fat percentage. How do I get rid of it without going too low?
Several things. Number one, how in the purple fuck do you know you're 12 or 13% body fat? Based on what? According to whom? Who told you that? Secondly, there is no way to spot reduce. Your fat carriage is genetically programmed. If you want to lose fat in one particular area, you have to undertake a protocol that will strip fat off all your areas according to the genetic instructions that your body holds for the timing and sequence of fat removal.
So is it that the amount of protein consumed and amount of mTOR signaling on a carnivore diet is actually not considered high physiologically, rather just considered high in the modern diet context?
Okay. Let me say this very slowly using short words so that you can understand. This reductionist approach, looking at one thing in isolation to everything else, i.e. mTOR in this case, is a fruitless wild goose chase. You are wasting all of our times. Stop it. It's nonsense. It's not worth even considering. Sinclair is a reductionist bullhead. He's an imbecile. Okay, let's move on.
Not a question, but in response to that, my parents sadly have that thought about moderation. What can I tell them to ensure that they know the truth?
You can't tell your parents a damn thing. They know you. They've known you your whole life. That's why you can't tell them anything. Horses and water. You can lead the horses to the water or show them where it is. That's all you can do. Okay?
Right. I think this one's for me.
Okay.
From your total experience now, do you believe a dry fast for 1 day is really equivalent to 3 days of water fast in terms of fat loss speed? I mean, you can answer it too, but I can tell you where that the claim comes from, that 1 day is equivalent to 3, and it's research that has looked at autophagy specifically, not fat loss.
Yeah, okay. I don't think so personally. I don't think so either. I haven't seen anything that would convince me of that.
No, because before you get the fat loss, you need to get rid of all the glycogen that you have stored, all the excess water in your tissues that's just sitting there or between your tissues. If you have a lot of water retention, you need to get rid of that before you get the sped up breakdown of fat to produce water for your metabolism. So
Fuck
no.
me sideways, Your Majestyship. We agreed again.
Oh shit.
I know.
What do we do now?
In the show, quick. I don't do that.
Bye.
No, not finished.
Next question.
Blah, finished.
Would you consider teaching again or developing a school as Abs has done?
Maybe if I get 3 seconds to scratch my ass at some point, Dave. At the moment, I'm far too fucking busy to consider doing anything else.
What do you think of rotisserie meat in a carnivore diet if you are very busy, so it makes it sustainable, weighing in the presence of deleterious ingredients?
Case by case, depends. Very much depends on the source of the rotisserie meat as to whether I would eat it personally.
It's better than eating, I mean, if you don't have time to cook meat, would you have time to cook other meat, other food, even if it was good quality?
Yes.
So.
Yes. So we should all go in town for a dodgy Lebanon kebab, shouldn't we?
Can you dry fast on weight training days?
Yes.
I would not recommend it, though.
You can.
Well, you can, maybe.
You can do whatever you like.
Depends on how long you've been dry fasting. If it's your first 24 hours, probably not a problem.
Yeah.
But why would you?
The only things you have to do is die and pay taxes.
Good.
Right.
That was the last one.
Excellent. What time is it?
11:07.
07. Very good.
Yay.
All right. If you want us to answer any questions, you have probably less than 2 minutes to get them through to us. Probably you should append a super chat to make it so that it definitely happens. If you don't, within the next few seconds or so, I may well be required to sing the national anthem of Pembatia and close the show. So that's up to you. If you want us to stay a bit longer, get the questions rolling in fast.
I think he's causing trouble. Question, not a question. I think the world would benefit from more of both of you, little ones to spread the message.
Little ones of what? You mean, no, God, no. No, shit. Holy hell, no. Absolutely no. There's a question.
An actual question.
Go on then.
There. How many grams of protein do you eat every day?
Roughly, we don't measure because it's all these days. It's all done using the ichrometer. But roughly, it's going to be around about 2 grams of protein effectively per gram of lean body mass, and plus or minus probably about 10%, I guess.
Apparently we skipped this question, but you've asked like 15 billion questions and we answered 15 billion, so I don't think I missed any. And if I did, you have to ask it again.
Yeah.
Opinion on caffeine in the form of coffee and effect?
Caffeine is a recreational drug. It's a toxin. There are many other plant alkaloids that come along with the caffeine that can be problematic. There's no place in the diet for caffeine, but do not stand between me and the caffeine. You will not survive it. How's that?
What's the ratio of protein to fat I should eat? Right now I eat around 50-50.
There's no ratio you should aim for or look for. There's no measuring required. Once you get used to how much 2 grams of protein per kilo of lean mass is, that's how much protein you eat, and you eat fat to satiety on any given day. That will vary depending on your needs that day.
And how you feel.
Yes, and stuff.
Hello, Pim. I have experience with wet fasting for 3 to 5 days, but I'm keen on trying a dry fast for 3 days. How would you suggest I start and how to break the fast? Cheers. I suggest that you start with maybe 24 hours of dry fasting. If that goes well, then you do it again and you progressively make it longer. How to break the fast? I think I already answered that earlier. You start with just drinking water, then you have other liquids, maybe bone broth, maybe kefir. And if it's just 3 days, you can probably have meat the next day or whatever, meat, eggs, preferably easily digestible forms of that.
Good.
Now all the questions are coming in.
Good.
What is your opinion of smoked meat?
I love them.
I love them more.
They shouldn't be the basis of your diet, but you can have some.
Yummy. We should smoke some of split ear. What causes gout? Actually, you might have mentioned this in your videos, many of which I have watched. Sorry if I have missed it, if that's the case.
Gout seems to be reliant upon both a very high level of urate/uric acid and a high level of inflammation. It seems. Plus a few other biochemical necessities that have to be in play before it will happen.
Good. I'm 6 feet, 180 pounds. I can't work out how much protein grams.
Right. Well, first of all, you need to translate 180 pounds into kilograms, which will be somewhere just under 90. And then you need to multiply that by 2, and that will give you the answer as to how many grams of protein per day.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, not a question, but I'm a follower of your channel. I remember you mentioned at the time Cyrus released it that you were going to record a response. I've always been in the lookout for it.
Well, not hard enough. Look again.
It wasn't long ago since you did, was it?
I did 2 videos on Sideways last week, but neither one with the Randle cycle videos. I did a Randle cycle video on Sideways and posted it. I'm quite sure. It's either on YouTube or on Odyssey. Have a look. It's there somewhere.
When are you ending live?
What do you mean, when are we ending live?
I think we're ending now because that's the last comment and no more questions.
All right. Good.
Yep. So, there you go.
Good-o. All right. Well, in that case, the only thing left to do is to sing the national anthem of Pimbatia and close the show off. And that goes a little bit something like this, doesn't it, Ted? Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. They got it, Ted, I think. Right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Join us next week when someone will be wrong on the interwebs, because it doesn't let something down, does it?